Right now, entire human worlds are underwater. Not myths, not legends. Real land, where people once lived. 12,000 years ago, sea levels were 120 meters lower. The most habitable land on Earth is now beneath the ocean, and we've barely searched it. Between Britain and Europe, there was once a lost world. Southeast Asia was once a continent-sized civilization zone. Then the Ice Age ended, and the oceans surged. Entire coastlines disappeared within human lifetimes. And just after this, something strange appears. Massive stone monuments, older than agriculture. Advanced construction techniques with no clear beginning. Skills that appear fully formed and sometimes disappear. Flood stories across every continent. Climate doesn't collapse slowly. It shifts. So here's the question. What if civilization didn't begin once, but many times? Hold for silence and tension. Before we go further, we need to define something. Because most people think civilization means cities. It doesn't. Civilization begins with long-term knowledge storage, the ability to pass information forward. It requires social coordination, environmental engineering, astronomical tracking, long-term planning. None of these require skyscrapers. And no, we're not talking about laser pyramids. We're talking about organized human systems, systems that could disappear without leaving cities. Because archaeology only finds what survives, and survival favors stone, not wood, not fiber, not memory. So the real question isn't, did they exist? It's what would survive. If you're here for serious history, not fantasy, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what counts as a civilization to you? 12,000 years ago, the world looked nothing like this. Massive ice sheets locked up oceans worth of water. Sea levels were over 120 meters lower, which means coastlines were miles farther out. Vast river valleys existed where ocean sits today, and humans lived there, fishing, trading, observing the sky. Then the Ice Age ended. Ice sheets destabilized. During Meltwater Pulse 1A, oceans surged rapidly. In some regions, meters within a lifetime. Entire landscapes disappeared. The best real estate of the ancient world is underwater, and we've barely searched it. Underwater archaeology is still in its infancy. Doggerland once connected Britain to Europe. Sundaland was a continent-sized ecosystem. Most of it vanished before writing began. If organized societies lived there, what would survive? Not much, which means the archaeological record may only show the survivors. If this changes how you see human history, subscribe and comment below. Should we be funding underwater archaeology more? Let's start in the North Sea. 10,000 years ago, Britain wasn't an island. It was connected by a massive landmass called Doggerland. Rivers, forests, hunting grounds. Fishermen still pull tools and bones from its floor. We know people lived there, then sea levels rose and erased it. Almost no trace remains above water. Now look at Southeast Asia. This wasn't scattered islands. It was a continent-sized ecosystem with enormous river systems running through it. These are the environments where early complex societies formed. Predictable food, easy travel, trade corridors. Then it drowned. What we see now are the mountain peaks. These weren't islands. They were continents, and most of it hasn't been excavated because searching underwater is expensive and slow, which creates a blind spot. If complexity emerged there, it would be almost impossible to prove. And right after these floods, something strange appears inland. Now something strange happens. In southern Turkey, 11,000 years ago, humans built this. massive carved stone pillars, some weighing over 10 tons, arranged in complex circular structures, older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, possibly before large-scale farming, or emerging alongside it, which creates a serious question. Why build temples before cities? This required coordination, planning, design, possibly astronomical awareness. Mainstream archaeology doesn't deny this. It acknowledges it. But place this in context. Massive coastal flooding had just occurred. Populations were relocating, and suddenly, monumental construction appears inland. Coincidence? Or consolidation after loss? Do you think Göbekli Tepe changes the timeline, or just fills in missing pieces? Tell me below. Now look at the stone. Not just large, precise, angles, symmetry, clean cuts, surfaces polished to extreme smoothness, all achieved with stone and copper tools, which is possible, but not easy. And here's what's strange. In several regions, it appears mature from the start. Where are the long trial phases? Sometimes they're missing, and sometimes the skill declines. That's not evolution. That's lost craft tradition, because advanced skill lives in people, and when continuity breaks, the stone remains, but the knowledge does not. Climate shifts, trade routes collapse, apprentices disappear, and centuries later, we stare at the result. Was it advanced or simply remembered, and then forgotten? Because this isn't rare, it's a pattern. You don't need prehistory to see forgetting. Take Roman concrete. Some of it is more durable than modern cement. And after Rome fell, the formula was lost. Europe built for centuries without it. Then there's Greek fire, a weapon that burned even on water. Its exact composition vanished. It was never fully recorded. Now look at the Maya. Their astronomical tracking was extremely precise. They could predict celestial cycles with stunning accuracy. Then their cities were abandoned, and much of that knowledge fragmented. Across the world, advanced metallurgy appears, like Damascus steel. The method to produce it was lost for centuries, again and again. Not because humans became less intelligent, but because stability collapsed. Knowledge isn't permanent. Stability is, and when stability breaks, memory thins. Now we hit something even older than ruins. A text called the Sumerian King List. It's basically a record of rulers and where kingship belonged. But it starts with the before the flood section, and the reigns are impossibly long, thousands of years per ruler. Mainstream scholars don't take that literally. So what is it? It may be memory compression, an institution remembered as a person, a long stable system, simplified into one name. Because names travel, systems don't. Then the list hits a dividing line, the flood, and the rain lengths suddenly drop into human reality. Decades, not millennia. That abrupt shift is the point, not as proof of a magic event, but as a boundary between deep time and recorded time. It's where story becomes administration, where memory becomes paperwork. And if this is compression, then the oldest parts of history might be hiding in plain sight. Not false, translated. And that brings us to the weirdest pattern of all. Subscribe if you want the serious version of history. Now we zoom out. Mesopotamia records a massive flood. Mesopotamia records a massive flood. In the Epic of Gilgamesh. A deluge that resets civilization. India has its own flood story. The story of Manu surviving rising waters. In the Americas, flood myths appear again. Across the Pacific, entire worlds swallowed by water. Different cultures, same structure. So what does that mean? We know the end of the Ice Age caused massive sea level rise. We know the end of the Ice Age caused massive sea level rise. We know it happened rapidly in pulses. We know it happened rapidly in pulses. We know entire coastlines vanished. We know entire coastlines vanished. But prehistoric societies didn't record it scientifically. But prehistoric societies didn't record it scientifically. They encoded it in story. They encoded it in story. Over generations, details blur. Over generations, details blur. Story becomes symbol. Story becomes symbol. This isn't proof of a single global flood. This isn't proof of a single global flood. It's not proof. It's not proof. It's possible memory residue. It's possible memory residue. A reflection of post-glacial flooding. A reflection of post-glacial flooding. And if stories can preserve floods, what else might they preserve? And if stories can preserve floods, what else might they preserve? The sky is the most stable thing humans ever observed. Many ancient sites align with solstices, built to track the sun's yearly cycle. Light entering chambers on a single day each year. Mesoamerican observatories tracked Venus cycles. These aren't accidents, but this kind of knowledge takes time. Years of repeated observation, careful horizon tracking. Some researchers debate whether ancient cultures understood precession, a slow wobble in Earth's axis over thousands of years. That debate is ongoing. What's not debated is that precise sky tracking happened, and sky knowledge requires continuity. If populations are displaced, if observation sites are abandoned, the knowledge fragments. Precision becomes story. Astronomy becomes mythology. Measurement becomes symbol, not because it was wrong, but because continuity broke. The sky stayed the same. The observers did not. Stone survives by resisting time. Stone survives by resisting time. Language survives by moving through it. Language survives by moving through it. And when societies fracture, language fractures with them. Language fractures with them. Dialects split. Structures simplify. Complex systems compress. Complex systems compress. But some symbols survive. But some symbols survive. The world tree. The world tree. The great flood. The great flood. Sky fathers. Earth mothers. Universal psychology. Universal psychology. Or simplified inheritance. Or simplified inheritance. When memory becomes too heavy. When memory becomes too heavy, it compresses. It compresses. Systems become characters. Systems become characters. Astronomy becomes myth. Astronomy becomes myth. Shared metaphors persist across continents. Shared metaphors persist across continents. Not intact systems. Not intact systems. Fragments. Fragments. Which leads to an uncomfortable thought. Which leads to an uncomfortable thought. We might be speaking. We might be speaking. Fragments. Fragments of older worlds. Of older worlds. Worlds we no longer remember. Worlds we no longer remember. Let's simplify everything. Step 1. Stable climate. Predictable seasons. Populations grow. Trade expands. Complexity increases. Step 2. Disruption. Flood. Trade networks collapse. Systems contract. Specialization disappears. Craft knowledge vanishes. Memory compresses. Long systems become short stories. Precision becomes myth. Step 3. Conditions stabilize again. Societies rebuild. Using fragments. They believe they're starting from nothing, but they're not. This is the reset pattern. Stable, disrupt, compress, rebuild. If this pattern makes sense to you, subscribe. And comment one word, cycle, if you see it too. If this pattern exists, why don't we see it clearly? Because archaeology finds what survives. Wood rots, fiber disappears, stone endures. So our record favors stone. It favors dry climates. It forgets forests. And it barely touches the ocean floor. Underwater archaeology is expensive. Funding follows probability. Research follows precedent. Incentives shape focus. Established models guide interpretation. When something doesn't fit, it's bracketed, not suppressed, deferred, individually manageable, collectively harder to assemble. This isn't conspiracy, it's structure. The Earth doesn't hide the past. We just inherit what survives. Now look at us. Globally connected, interdependent, digitally stored, incredibly complex. Everything depends on everything. Complexity gives us power. It also creates fragility. The more interconnected the system, the more cascading the failure. Our knowledge isn't carved in stone. It's stored in systems. And systems require maintenance. We generate more information than we preserve. Attention fragments. Memory thins. We assume digital equals permanent. It doesn't. Civilizations don't collapse in flames. They compress. They simplify. Forgetting doesn't require collapse. It requires distraction. It requires overload. It requires broken continuity. The pattern doesn't predict doom. It predicts vulnerability. And vulnerability has existed before. The only question is whether we recognize it. At some point, the question stops being historical. It becomes present. Civilizations don't experience themselves as endings. They experience themselves as continuity, as progress, as permanence. But permanence is conditional. Stability allows complexity. Instability compresses it. And then something new begins. Not from nothing, from fragments. The Earth doesn't erase violently. It erases patiently, one generation at a time, one simplification at a time, until the ground feels new. Even when it has been walked before, how many civilizations did Earth forget? Maybe the better question is, how many are invisible right now? The Earth doesn't erase violently, it erases patiently. If this changed how you see history, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, do civilizations fall, or do they slowly forget?